Hello, I'm JP Sears. Let's talk about how you can find freedom from self-sabotage. In my opinion, there's two types of people in this world. Those who self-sabotage and those are in denial that they self-sabotage. When we self-sabotage, our inner saboteur says, let me set a goal so I can hurry up and fail at it. So what we acknowledge with self-sabotage is we're in conflict. Part of me wants to make more money, and another part of me makes sure that doesn't happen. Part of me wants to have beautiful, loving relationships, and another part of me makes sure I don't. A part of me wants to feel peaceful inside and feel good physically and emotionally. And another part of me makes sure I'm depressed and feeling icky. So with our self-sabotage inner conflict, what I'd invite you to consider is what you consciously want is in conflict with what part of you unconsciously wants. And when we're self-sabotaging, repeating our sabotaging patterns over and over and over again, what we then find out is, it's my dog shaking, what we find out is our unconscious part that's in conflict, it's dominant, it's stronger, it's more powerful than our conscious voice that states our conscious agendas. I want to make more money, I want to be in loving relationships, I want to lose weight, I want to feel great. So we might as well get a little bit crazy with each other and ask, well, why does our unconscious inner saboteur seek suffering? Why does it want to screw up our success? Well, what if we found out self-sabotage is really a way that part of us deep inside validates how it feels about itself and what it thinks about itself. It validates its feeling-oriented self-identity through our self-sabotage patterns. Then we might amp up the craziness a little bit more and realize, wow, what if the real issue with self-sabotage, the real cause, is my unresolved emotional wounds? And my inner saboteur is the one out to replicate the familiar pain of those unresolved wounds. Why would it do that? Well, what if the answer to that beautiful question is because the pain of the unresolved wounds is familiar. The intense discomfort of the pain is incredibly comfortable because it is familiar. Familiar. We feel like we're resting in the comfort of our family. Even my dog is sitting here saying, well, JP, this doesn't make any sense. Why would we do this? Well, what's interesting is our emotional wounds, they don't work logically. They work emotionally. Hence, they replicate their pain through our self-sabotaging cycles to the degree that we're unresolved with our wounding is the very degree that that pain will be found in our self-sabotage cycles. So how does the familiar pain of unresolved emotional wounds perpetuate the symptom of self-sabotage? Well, the cycle starts, we make a decision or we set a goal and we consciously try at it for a while, maybe even meeting some level of success. Days, weeks, or maybe even months later, the inner saboteur unconsciously succeeds at failing. And here is the coup de grace of self-sabotage. The hidden agenda of all self-sabotage is we shame ourselves. That shame might be very perceptible, very intense, or very subtle. Nonetheless, our failing or abandoning a goal will lead us to the coup de grace of shaming ourselves. And here is the fingerprint of the actual cause of our self-sabotage. If we look off the beaten path of this whole cycle, what we see is the original unresolved shame. Now, we've been resisting it, so the symptoms of it have persisted. What we resist persists. It rhymes, so it's absolutely true. Shame of self that we come up with in the self-sabotage cycle is a reflection of our unresolved shame. Why does our unresolved shame want to reflect itself? Because it's familiar. It's who part of me thinks I am. So it needs to set up this whole cycle simply so that it can validate and reaffirm its self-identity, its self-feeling, and its belief of self. Where we get caught in the endless cycle of self-sabotage is once we shame ourselves, we ignore the original cause and we reaffirm our decision. We set a new goal, a bigger goal, and we make it with more authority, more exclamation points. So we're focusing on the symptoms, so the symptoms will persist. The inner saboteur has the hidden agenda of failing at all of our goals so that we can shame ourselves. Drives us crazy. But to break the sanity of the self-sabotage cycle, we focus on the cause, the original unresolved shame. When was it? What happened? Who was involved in this wounding experience that went unresolved? Focusing on the cause is how we find freedom from self-sabotage. When we're focusing and rebalancing and healing the original wound of shame through heartfelt, compassionate healing, we're helping this part of us, this hidden saboteur, change who it thinks it is. Changing from a low sense of self-worth identified through shame to something more acceptable. And when we do that, we no longer have to set goals so that we can try at them for a little while so that we can ultimately fail, just to reaffirm our shame. With all of that said, here's what I'd like to challenge your heart to contemplate. Would you be willing to look at your self-sabotage as an obnoxious messenger carrying a sacred message? It's a sacred message about you. And most importantly, it's a sacred message about a forgotten part of you. Perhaps the pain is the persistent messenger calling us to action, to reclaim and connect with the part of us that's disconnected, hidden under the scar tissue of its unresolved pain and wounding. That's where it's stuck. So what can you do to help yourself find freedom from your self-sabotage? Well, first, please connect with the awareness. All self-sabotage is a symptom. Always be aware there's something going on here that I'm not aware of. What we're unaware of tends to control our lives significantly more than that which we are aware of. I'd invite you to look into your tender heart and the tender heart of your inner child for wounding, pain, trauma. They might be wounds that are numb. You're not aware they're there. And they might be wounds that you are aware of. Looking inward, connecting, and feeling the feelings that are there help set us up so that we don't have to find the mirror image of the feelings in our sabotage cycles. I'd also invite you to stay humble about the lessons that this teacher called your self-sabotage is teaching you. It's very easy to bristle up, get tense, resist self-sabotage, try and make it go away. But can you become the humble student and sensitively and compassionately and curiously take in what the message is that the messenger is bringing you? I appreciate you dancing the dance of freedom from self-sabotage with me today. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.